Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to SATAL 2020. I'm your host, Moltar, joined as always by the mustache man, Billy Wah Merlin. And Billy's he's upgraded his lighting, and he's looking good. He's really his mustache is looking on point. I know I've got the tan. I'll get skin cancer before he will, but he's looking a lot better. The lighting's doing you justice, Billy. I gotta say.
Excellent. Glad to hear it.
And you had to change your green screen background to a blue screen because you're rocking the Wild Weasel Apparel HUD shirt.
Got the HUD shirt on, and it's green, so it does not like
Is
the
that
green
the Hornet?
screen.
That looks like the Hornet.
That is the Hornet HUD. It is
I'm not a
probably
disgrace.
my
I can call
favorite
my
shirt.
Hornets. Or I can call my HUDs.
I actually got I have a 16 one on the way. I actually hadn't ordered any of my own shirts in quite some time, so finally did that. Got some new ones on the way, so we'll be able to show those bad boys off. Some of the newer, cooler design.
Well, that's good.
I think we might. Go ahead.
Nope. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think we didn't really get a chance to discuss it beforehand. I don't know how easy it is to do, but we had talked about trying to do a giveaway today, so
yeah,
I'm definitely
we can do
cool
that. We can do that at the end of the stream. I put in Nightbot, so Nightbot's here. He's the one that pushes out some of the messages for the automated messages into chat. So pretty sure we can do a giveaway via him. So we'll be giving away a shirt from Wild Weasel Apparel, which Billy runs here at the end of the stream. So be waiting for that. The match today is going to be featuring TFS81 taking on 343rd. This match took place the week, I think, of June 20th. Somewhere in there is when it was supposed to take place. So Patch is a few times behind. It's going to feature a couple Tomcats. So I'm looking at the track right now. Pause before we jump into it. And there's a couple Tomcats taxiing for TFS81. Shout outs to Gordo B for gifting me the Syria map. So I don't have to do any of that. Syria's looking baller. Syria is looking good. Man, I think Syria... Everybody was really excited about the Persian Gulf, but Syria... what's the company's name that's doing that map? They're the same ones I think that did...
Media?
Are they the ones that did the...
Normandy.
And Normandy looks good. There's just not a lot you can do in Normandy.
It's exciting because I'm ready for a terrain that was made by a company that they had all their time to focus on. Not all, we don't know exactly where they allot their time, but a company that mainly focuses on maps and terrains. So I feel like the attention to detail will be a bit stronger just based on that alone. It already looks like that from what we're seeing in there. So definitely excited for that. That is probably the map I've been looking forward to the most, just based on the scenario possibilities with the real world stuff going on and the stuff from the past. It's just a lot to unpack there.
I have slight voice lag. Does that mean like my mouth is moving before my voice comes out? Is that what you're saying? That's an easy fix. I went through and totally redid the audio again, which I've been doing before like every stream because things have been screwing up repeatedly. And I think I found the problem that was happening to a lot of this stuff. Oh wow, there's probably, I'm looking at my webcam moving and there's not nearly as much lag. So let me fix that real quick. Let's do it down to like 30. Let me know if that's any better, Jazzy. Let me know if that fixes it. But I've totally redone the audio again. I think I isolated the problem. I know initially when I fixed it the first time it was virtual audio cables, and I fixed that, and then I did something last time that caused that problem to come back. And I think my problem was that I was running too many virtual audio cables. That looks worse. Went the wrong way. Okay, well, let's fix that. So let's try 150. How about that? Let me know if that fixes it. So I added a 50 milliseconds to the original. So if that fixed it. But I removed a lot of virtual audio cables, and I think it's going to help my PC a lot. Because I was running 10 extras, because I'm an idiot, and didn't think they were going to be a big deal, and I think they were a bigger deal than I thought they were, and I think it was murdering my PC. I mean, I'm a 1090 900K at 5.3, and I'm pretty sure it was the virtual audio cables were bringing it to its knees, and it was causing a lot of problems. So hopefully we got that fixed. If there are any audio problems, shout them out. Thank you for sending that out, Jazzy. Much appreciated. I'm glad we could get that fixed, so I'm not talking like a old Japanese martial arts film where, hello. I mean, hopefully that's not what we're going to be going on for the rest here. Shout outs to a new Patreon, the Baby Shakers subscribed as a whole. So big shout outs to them. And their question since they subscribe to the flight lead tier is, why is the F-14 so underrepresented when it is so clearly the best fighter in the game? Well, I think the best fighter in the game is subjective, but I think it's just hard to fly for a lot of people. I mean, it's a two-man team. They've got to work really well together, and it's complicating. It's analog, right? You lose a lot of the digital handholds that a lot of the modern fighters have. And I talked about this last week answering Alex's question, not last week, but Thursday answering Alex's question. A lot of pilots now in DCS, or virtual pilots in DCS, since the F-18 and the F-16 now and the JF-17 have their digital data links, I think pilots have gotten an over-reliance on data link, and the F-14's data link in comparison is far, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as good. It's not the word I was looking for, but it's not as good.
It doesn't provide as much information, right? Like, it gives you the basics of what you need or want from a data link, but you're not getting that I shouldn't say it gives you the information, but you just have to work a whole lot harder to get it, right? So the information is definitely there in a lot of ways. But I think, when you talk about the F-14, especially in consideration to what we do here and all that stuff, I think, Jester versus no Jester, huge deal there, right? I think the F-14 with Jester, not as effective as with a Rio that is very good. You get a much faster performance, I feel like, out of that jet with a human back there operating that thing, where there's less disconnect between, as a pilot. Sometimes you're unsure of what that guy, not that doesn't exist with a real Rio, but once you work through that with a Rio and you have confidence in that person, the speed at which that plane can be operated is pretty amazing, and it yields some pretty good efficiency, I think, at the end of the day. But that's a process to get there, which I don't think we've seen a ton of people in DCS
number
really
15,
do.
I think, did a really good job.
Yeah,
that was
very,
a pretty
very
good
true.
showcase of that. I think it was Pops and
Yes.
Viper.
Right, and there was, and then I believe there was a combo over at 104th too, where those guys were doing it pretty darn well for a little bit there.
I think you were talking.
Yeah,
I'm talking
right.
this year with
correct.
Pops. They got like 6 kills in the F-14. They were dominating. But like you said, you got to have that combined teamwork of your pilot and your Rio. And on top of that, a lot of the sensors require a lot more input from the Rio in order to get pertinent data out of them. And then taking it a step further with what you talked about between having the compatibility and the workflow between the pilot and the Rio, in a normal jet, the pilot just takes it and says, all right, I want my radar to do this. Well, in this, the pilot is now depending on the Rio to do the radar work and the data link work and all of that stuff. And he's virtually just flying the airplane. So that teamwork and stuff is really important. And Jester's okay, but man, Jester a lot of times will just say pew pew and eject out of your aircraft. And in all honesty, when he ejects, it's probably better in a lot of cases just having him not there than having him there. I mean,
I just think
I can only take so much of him saying missile 12 o'clock low 77 miles.
I'm out of here.
I can only deal with that so much. So
no, there's a distinct difference between the speed at which an F-14 can operate with Jester versus a real Rio, and I think that's the big difference there, right? Do you have a good combination of pilot Rio? Then that can be an effective plane in SATAL. I think as we see guys, especially in gold, try to use Jester and do that stuff, it's as I obviously been kind of studying these TAC views, it's evident. I can see the moments where guys are fiddling with Jester. Like, you can just see it, right? Like, you're well within parameters. Human Rio that knows the ship would have picked that up at this point.
We can see it on stream. Like we saw it last week when we were doing the private I mean, we can't normally see it on stream, but we were doing the private track because I didn't have a server track, and you could see how often he was having to talk to Jester, and Jester was screwing up, and he would have to go back and do it. It was just, it can be a mess. I mean, Jester, Heapler did a really good job of having you to be able to interact with the AI, but it's still AI at the end of the day, and it's not even really AI. You're just kind of sending commands to the plane.
That's something that you need like machine learning to benefit from and like teach itself over time or something like that. It's just not something you're gonna. I don't know that I want that
because Jester'd probably be beating me in the back of the head. You're gonna get us killed.
That ejection arm will just casually turn itself off as things progress, and all of a sudden the Rio's gone, and you're trying to get out of that thing, figuring out what.
Yeah. So Gordo dropped he subscribed for 11 months, so welcome back, Gordo. Navy Doc dropping for his 10-month anniversary. It says 10-month anniversary. Gordo said, boom. Welcome back, guys. And then Captain Cleveland says, hey, I can't watch because I'm teaching a class. Love you guys. Have a good stream. I'm going to watch this later. Well, Captain Cleveland, hopefully you have a great class, and hopefully your class loves you as much as I do. So we're going to jump into this. This is going to be, there's going to be some, I'm going to assume, since we're a feet wet match, I think this is Sanaki versus Sochi, I think is the match location that's taking place today. So medium distance, not too far, but a decent sized bubble. We could see some mountain fights. Probably going to see a lot of feet wet fights. But I'm going to send you guys to a fan vid. There's no super cut for this week because Alpha and I decided that we need to try and get ahead of the game so we can get back on a more consistent schedule. So we're not going to see super cuts for the next couple streams. And then probably starting on Tuesday, I'm not going to have a webcam on Tuesday because I ordered a DSLR, so you guys are going to see me in much more glory. Yeah, you're going to see this bread stapled to my face in a much higher resolution. But let's jump to the supercut. Oh, last thing. I'm pretty sure I got the live TAC-View working again. I reinstalled TAC-View. I checked it myself going to my external IP and then back in. So if you guys want to check that out, Nightbot sent it a few minutes ago with the connection IP and the port. But if you guys want to check that out and see if that works, it should work. Xander says, yay. Yay, live TAC-View. I hope that means it works. Please work. Please work. It should connect. Nothing will be moving, though. Whatever happened to what?
Whatever happened to old Moltbot? Did we replace Moltbot with Nightbot? Is he more Nightbot a little bit more friendly than Moltbot was?
Moltbot's cool, but I had to run another application in order to get him to work. So I just kind of gave Moltbot the middle finger and said, "Screw you," Moltbot. And I went back to Nightbot. So
all right, Nightbot it is.
Yeah. So looks like TAC-View is working. So
awesome.
Make sure that you guys tune into that. So TAC-View is going to be exactly at what we're looking at in the stream. It's going to pause when I pause. It'll fast forward when I fast forward. But if you guys don't have TAC-View Advanced, I highly suggest you look at it. I don't think it's on sale anymore. But TAC-View Advanced is going to allow you to get real-time telemetry, and you can put it on a second monitor or half and half your screen and be able to watch the stream and watch the TAC-View. And it's effectively going to be like, watching racetrack in a Formula One race while you're able to watch the cockpit views or the guy's stream. So I highly suggest you guys take a look. First come, first serve for TAC-View Live, real-time telemetry. I think they were limited to 60-some simultaneous clients. So if you guys really want TAC-View, real-time telemetry during the streams, you got to get in here early. So make sure you check that out. And it's probably going to get more popular as the year goes on. Gordo B drops 5 gifted subs. Man, he is the gifter above all gifters. Gordo B just makes it rain in here.
Really, for real.
So huge shout out to Gordo B for the subs. Congratulations to Marduk, Shifty, War Monkey, Gazra, and Black Haze. Welcome to the fray, and hopefully you guys enjoy your stay. But I'm going to send you guys to a fan video. When we come back, we're going to be live with the action. TFS81 taking on 343 in a Gold League matchup. DCS competitive SATAL 2020 coming at you in just a minute.
was on fire and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. And I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. What a wicked game to play, to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do, to let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say. You never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do, to make me dream of you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, with you.
Sorry, guys, just moving some stuff around. I realized that the scoreboards are a little messed up, but we will get this fixed.
Hey, so we've been way better with the scoreboards this year.
I've been on point.
Year of the scoreboard for Moltar for sure.
I've been doing my stuff. It's been
Yeah.
It's been happening. I've been on top of it.
Although I think we may need to switch the icons, but you're probably doing that right now.
Yeah, I'm syncing the cameras right now, so
Yeah.
I am doing that right now. Let's turn down DCS a little bit, but I am switching the icons. So as you guys can see, lots of F-14s, F-16s as these guys Taxi Pass. We are watching TFS81. Taxi, I think we're down at Sanaki right now, and I'm fixing the icons. But, Billy, do you think the F-14 is going to play an impact? I mean, just your guess. There are 2 F-14s. I'm not sure, and we're not sure about what weapons they're going to take. Do you know what weapons they take, if it's A restriction or B restriction?
Yeah, I have a note here, and I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to give anything away, but let's go ahead and just pull up Splash One and see what the official choice for weaponry was. I believe I observed some variation going on throughout the match, and I wasn't quite sure what to make of.
Icons should be fixed. And again, we're just waiting for these guys to finish taxiing. Chat, do you guys think the Tomcat's going to play any role here? Tomcat, really the only time the Tomcat's been effective in Gold League has been number 15 making it really effective, where their Tomcat, their Singleton, got, I think, 6 kills in 2 rounds. So just wrecked the opposition.
This is an A weapons choice.
So A weapons, again, for you guys that are new to everything, the A weapon restriction is 120Cs. The Mark 60 is available, and the C variant of the Phoenix are available. So the only thing that is banned in the A weapon restriction is the AIM-9X. The Phoenix is restricted to 4, but the only weapon that is banned is the 9X. Nukes are banned too. I should say that. Navy Doc, they do have 2 Tomcats, so they do think it's going to make a difference. But do you guys think that they're going to make a difference in this match? I guess is what I should have said. Well, I did say.
I mean, I think the simple presence of an F-14 changes the game plan, or should change the game plan of the team that's going against it. Now, whether they have their own to counter it or not is another story, but it certainly should affect game planning. I think me and you would both agree on that, right? Like, you should be accounting for the 14. If you forget about it, it's probably going to end up biting you in the ass.
Mm-hmm. Just waiting for these guys to take off. I think they should take off here really at any time. So we're going to flip back over and see if we can catch their departure.
Double racked 120s there on the inner pylons and nothing on the outer pylons.
No dual fuel tanks. So they're taking centerline fuel tanks, but no. Normally we would see them take dual fuel tanks. Looks like they're starting to depart, so Seagull is the first to roll, followed by Ali's Scorpion. So the F-14s are the first to depart, which is, Billy, something unusual that we haven't normally seen in the past. The F-14s are usually the last to depart.
Right.
So you think having them out in front is going to be a thing? You think that's gonna do it? All right, we're back. Sorry, guys. OBS just decided I'm not going to play anymore and decided to shit itself. So I think we're good now. OBS should be nice and happy. So let's flip over. Yeah, OBS is happy now.
Could have picked the middle of the match, right?
It could have, and it typically does do that. So I'm glad that it decided that it was going to do it now. They're blaming your mustache, Billy, is what I'm hearing in chat.
If it was in fact my mustache, that would make the 386th stream I've DDoSed this month alone. So if you're keeping score at home, make sure you add another notch there, boys.
Gotta respect the mustache.
Yep. You know, it's just one of those things. It's a capability most wouldn't expect, but it is a powerful thing.
There goes the center line from Rossman from
Just kidding.
343rd. So TFS, the Hornets are only taking, or the Hornet, I should say, there's only one Hornet on TFS, is taking one tank, where on the complete opposite side of that, the Hornet, or Hornets, for 343rd are taking 3 tanks. So let's take a look at the overall map picture for how everything's shaping up. So we've got 3 18s for 343rd and a Singleton 16, and then 2 14s, an 18, and a 16 for TFS81. So lots
You're gonna
more.
wanna-
Say again?
I'd stay in this view until you see the first shot.
Okay.
Just I'll give you that much there. I think that.
So we've
might-
got a
'cause
lead 2 ship for 343rd and a trail 2 ship from 343rd, and then not sure what TFS81's doing, but 120 from TFS81 from 40 miles. And another 120 from Rossman from 40 miles. Guys,
just stay here for a second. Yeah, it's
that's a long way. Another 120. I mean, that one's a little bit better. That one's 35 miles, so I can't really. That one's okay.
still though. That's a big gamble
But
on an opening salvo.
not even a but. They're immediately unsupported. Guys, when you shoot like this, you've got to support your weapons. They have got to be supported.
They give you a timer. I mean, they give you a timer in the bottom right, and they tell you how long
Right.
you got to stay straight. I mean, if you
Right.
pay attention to that timer, once you get to TTG, you can head out of dodge, but you got to stay there until you get there.
Yep. I mean, the INS, Magic INS for the 120 was taken out. So you've got to support your missiles. We do have
6 shots on 4 planes to open up that thing. To open
if
up
it's
this
weapons,
salvo.
why are they taking Mark 47s?
This is another thing I want to point out. That changes in the second round, or it looks like at one point in the second round, one of the 14s has like some A's, some C's, because I think I saw a shot of an A and then I saw a C right after it. So I wasn't sure
grab
what
this
to make of all that.
This is going to be hard to figure out which one I'm on. I don't think it's that one. I think it's this one that we want to be riding along with. So this one is 5 miles out, and that thing's going to be trashed. Is this one
and so
trashed? That one's
we
trashed.
watched
So
them shoot 6 missiles at
Yeah.
4 planes to start things off. I mean, it just seems like I mean, look at it. It's all, and the other point I wanted to make here, not to jump in front of you too much, you don't need to shoot on the first go around, guys.
Absolutely not.
You can turn around and let them waste missiles. Totally valid strategy here.
Oh,
Should
for
be,
sure.
Should be noted.
For sure. So we've got a possible incursion coming in between Sky and Rossman. Is this going to be our first engagement or real high PK chance coming in here? So Rossman is down to 21. No, he's down to 600 feet, now breaking away. Sky is at 21,000 feet, so Sky is in a much better position pressing here. And then Rossman's assistance from his wingman, Sib. You're now Seb. Seb is now at 10,000 feet, so Sky is in a pretty good position over both of these ingressing targets. My one worry in this position is that Sky is going to be tunnel vision onto Rossman, and Seb is just going to be able to come in here and
Right here,
wipe the floor
Sky
with it.
is about, I believe he gets as close as 15 nautical miles. Because at first, when I was watching this, I was like, why is he not shooting there? But then I realized he's getting checked pretty well. And this is good what I can tell is, what it seems like good communication here from the, I'm sorry, it's not TFS, the other squad. I'm drawing a blank here. The 34th guys. Very good communication. Yeah, 343rd, I'm sorry. Very good communication on their part to make sure they're covered there in that situation. The problem here is after this initial foray, which I believe, we still have 4 aside.
Well, I think one of the 343rd guys, no, he didn't. He's still there. He was just hiding under somebody. Never mind.
Task Force 81 just seemed to really struggle on regrouping after this first engage. They just seemed kind of scattered in all over the place for a lot of it.
So we've got an incoming missile onto Null. We can see it just appear there 5 miles out. And I think Null's at a decent speed. He's at a decent altitude to be able to transition that altitude and energy to be able to get away from that, and that's not going to be a problem for him to get away from. So if we jump back to the F-10 view, you can see how far back that missile is once he got the pitbull warning and started to defend. That missile's already at 600 knots, and there's no way it's going to be able to catch him because Nola is actually outrunning the missile as it comes in. So that well defended by 343rds and Nola there. I like that. He didn't wait. He got the missile warning. He was in a decent position where he could split S and transition that altitude to energy. Oh, we've got a red on red Rook is in trouble, and he's just going to fly into the ground.
Yep. What happens here is it looks like I'm not sure with the outer F-14. I'm not sure if it's Seagull or Scorpion. It looks like
it's Seagull.
It just looked like there might have been some, just from what I observed, I went back through and watched just his track from start to finish there, and it just looked like there might have been some confusion as to what was going on there.
Well, that looked like confusion considering he was shooting backwards.
He's making racetrack patterns down there for a little bit, and these sharp donuts and stuff like that, just quick turnarounds, and then all of a sudden it just shoots at that friendly there. So I'm not sure what happened there. I'd love to get some insight into what may have gone on.
I would
there.
too. It could have been. I'm going to blame Jester.
That's right. It could have been a lot of things there, but it definitely seemed like the things were.
So something else to point out is that he had launched 2 Phoenixes on the first salvo. He launched one there to take out Ouch, or to take out I don't even remember who it was, but now he's got one left. So that's a possible problem. We got 2 double tap AIM 54s coming in a Rossmann, and they were launched from 13 miles. Rossmann is in trouble. Rossmann has got missiles with some juice coming in on him. That one is trashed.
He does a good job here. I believe
they're both actually trashed.
He vertical notches and then comes up real quick, and I think he does a very good job of burning through the motors pretty quick and
well, I don't even think he burned through the motors. He actually notched them. Like they lost track of him. So we've talked about this a couple times in the past, ladies and gentlemen, and that is that the Phoenix is pretty easy to notch. Missile coming in on Sky in his F-16. It's going to be coming from low to high. So let's see if we can see it. There it is coming in. It's at 4.5 miles now. Sky is decently fast, 430 knots, 21,000 feet. Not defending yet. Still not defending. And that missile's going to smash him in the face. And it does exactly that. Leaking fuel from the right. And his pilot is dead as he now starts to descend in the low death spiral. His F-16 is toast. And I don't know if the chat knows this, Billy, but the water is just as deadly as the ground.
Especially if you're dead or unconscious already. Yeah, your plane is not going to fare well at all through that.
Phoenix coming in against Null. Is he going to be able to get away from that one? It was launched from decently close. No. So Null gets smashed by a Phoenix. So TFS81 loses somebody, and then they come right back and dispatch a 343rd combatant. So we're down to a 2v3. TFS81 has 2 remaining, and 343rd has 3.
I think in the mix there was a kill on TFS81. I think they lost somebody in the mix there.
They still got 2 left.
They have 2 left, right?
They still have 2 left. We had the red on red, and we had the
right.
So let's ride along with Seagull as he ingresses here. I'm going to try and set up the other camera for whoever's coming in on Seagull. It's going to be on Seb or Saab. So let's grab Saab.
Yep.
Let's go to dual view here. So there's the 120. You can see the enemy aircraft of Seagull way out there. No 120s. Well, there is a 120 coming in on Seagull from 2 miles. So I don't really anticipate. I don't think you guys can see that on stream. It's just outside of your guys' view range. But both of these guys do well at defending early and getting the hell out of the way of these incoming threats. So well done by them, making sure they're not ingressing too far. I do like that, where they're not waiting too long to be able to get away from a threat. AIM 7 coming in on Seb from Ali Scorpion. You guys should be able to see that now, and he's got a 120 coming in on him. So let's see if we can see where that's coming from. Where is it? There it is right there from 1.1 miles, but Ali Scorpion's going to be fast enough to be able to get away from that, and he's actually, I think that missile just doesn't have the energy state to be able to really catch up to him. It's turned and bled a lot of energy, and it smashed into the ground. So well defended by Scorpion, not waiting too long to get the hell out of the way of those incoming threats. So we're still down to a 2v3. 120 now being launched by Seb into Seagull. It's coming in on Seagull.
Both the Tomcats remaining too, which is interesting there.
Yeah, that is true. But I think it's the Tomcats are just being more defensive. It's like they're as soon as they're getting the missile warning, they're aggressively turning away, and they're not waiting too long to defend, and they're able to defend appropriately and well to be able to get the hell out of Dodge. That missile is easily defeated back into the F-10 view. AIM-7 now coming from Alley Scorpion, and I'm assuming since the AIM-7s are coming off the rail that they're out of Phoenixes. But Alley Scorpion could be in a bit of trouble. He waited a while to get that AIM-9 off. Still not defending. 120 coming in 1 mile, half mile, he's dead. And that hits him into the face. He's now in a death spiral. And like you said, the water is very effective if your pilot is already dead.
And I think what happens there is he's trying to support that AIM-7 where he should have just abandoned that thing and gotten out of Dodge.
Yep. And if we actually take a look at Seagull took a hit at the exact same time, but I think he's still airworthy.
Right. I thought we had determined it was a zombie Tomcat, but it looks like he's in pretty good control of it here.
Yeah, he was in decent control until another missile hit him.
Yep.
And when you get hit by a first missile, it's a problem. When you get hit by a second missile, it's a little bit bigger of a problem. So the F-18 piloted by Seb, I think hit Seagull the first time and then threw in that finishing shot. So well done by 343rd. They looked a little out of sorts there at the beginning, but I think they were able to regroup pretty well. And I think, Billy, correct me if you think differently, but the turning point of that match was the fratricide red-on-red incident, I think.
Absolutely. That was a big moment there. It really gave the 343 guys the advantage, I think, early on in this whole thing, and they were able to capitalize on that as a result. And also, we should point out the missile not conservative enough with the missiles. I mean, look at what happened at the end with those 214s. You take back those opening Phoenix shots that just went off into nothing, and those guys may have had a shot at actually pulling that off, you know.
Very good point. That if those missiles weren't wasted, the outcome of this match could have been vastly different.
Two Tomcats can make that happen with enough.
Think about the distances that those AIM-7s were launched from. If those were Phoenix and they were active, because a lot of those AIM-7s, when they were launched, they were immediately unsupported and just became small bean poles flying through the air with explosive warheads that weren't going to do anything. And
both were at or under or just over 10 miles, meaning that they wouldn't have even had to support those Phoenixes at all in most cases. So it's just it's about being smarter, I think, with your shot choices and just making sure you have enough both in the tank, the actual gas tank, and under the wings to do what you need to do in the last last couple moments of the match. Because like I said, I think we both agree that two Tomcats in that situation, I mean, I think that's almost a 50-50 shot whether they can, those other four planes can pull that off if they had those Phoenixes. But different story with
and that comes down to, like we just said, shot selection. And when you've got a limited number of effective weapons, I'm going to classify the AIM-7 as not effective. The AIM-7
right now, Edie needs to look at that.
The AIM-7 in SATAL is really only there to spoof and to make people think they've got a worse threat coming at them. Because you can't tell what a weapon is unless it's a Phoenix and it shows up as unidentified. You can't tell if a AIM-7 is a 120 or not, right? So it shows up just as a missile, and you have to defend it accordingly. So when you don't have any effective weapons left, you're not going to be effective in the game. And that's exactly what we saw. I mean, one of them, Seagull, I don't remember who the other F-14 pilot was. Scorpion. He launched an AIM-9 from 10 miles or something like that. That's not going to work unless the guy is hot.
It's barely doing anything there,
No, unless the guy is hot and you're just baiting him into thinking that he's got a kill opportunity on you. That's not a good high PK shot. And the only reason you're going to take that is when you think you have other weapons remaining, and you're out of gas, and it's just all you have left to offer. Another thing that I want to point out, and this is just a guess because I didn't check, is that the F-16 on the TFS81 side, he launched two 120s at the very beginning. He can only carry 6 missiles.
Yeah, so he only got 6, man.
Immediately, right off the bat, he's down to 4 against 4 adversaries. And odds are, half of those remaining missiles, even if you take them inside high PK scenarios, are going to miss. So that means you've only got 2 possible kills, maybe only 1, because you're taking shots way outside of PK or effective PK ranges. So really, really focus on shot selection there. That's the takeaway, I think, from this matchup is shot selection, shot selection, and just be okay being patient. And I think people need to be okay with not even shooting on the first pass. Billy, I think you alluded to that at the very beginning, that you don't need to shoot on the first pass because a lot of times if you just lock somebody up in SCT, they're going to turn around anyway. So just save the weapon, and even if they do stay hot, you're creating possible kill opportunities for your wingmen coming in on different angles if they think that they've got a possible kill on you.
You know, that's a good point. And I'm going to put this out there to everyone. Next time you guys are on a PvP server somewhere randomly or, you know, in the moment, STT lock and see how long it takes for that contact to change direction or just offset or do something different than what it was doing. Do that little test for yourself, and you will notice how much you can actually affect what the other pilot's doing by not shooting a missile, by just locking them up and actually getting them to move or adjust their vector.
Samurai, shot selection is worthless. It doesn't mean anything, obviously.
I think we've said that enough today. It's absolutely pointless to choose your shots. Just shoot randomly. I mean, I think we all agree firing from the hip is the way to go, guys.
Don't even lock. Just try and throw the missiles out there. Let the 120s do their thing, and just see if they hit something.
So yeah, I mean, you just want to mad dog everything. I mean, if you're not mad dogging, are you really doing it right? I think that's a fair question in itself.
No, definitely not.
So no, but to circle back around there, I think, you know, what we're trying to say here is you need to only shoot when you are, like, you know, very confident that you're actually going to get a kill with it, and that takes time and experience to kind of get to that point. I don't know that you only
shoot then. I think you only shoot when you want to dictate an outcome, whether that's a kill or you want to force an adversary to do something. You want to shoot when you are in control of the narrative, instead of just shooting and hoping something happens and letting the narrative write itself. You want to shoot when
they're just
can
spraying
control
and
something.
The chat is having none of this. They just spray and pray.
That's obviously the best way to do it.
Clearly. No doubt about it. I mean, I watch TAC views from these public servers. It is absolutely, undoubtedly the standard procedure for most people is to just chuck them suckers. As one of the guys in our group likes to call them, you know, they're beer darts, man. You're just chugging beers and throwing darts.
One, I don't know if most people know this, but when you get high enough on the intoxication level, those beer darts could start hitting friendlies, which we did see. So I think the beer dart analogy in this match is pretty apt.
Spot on.
We saw a beer dart hit somebody else in the face, and getting hit in the face with a dart
not fun.
Isn't very pleasant.
I mean, you're drunk in the moment. It's funny. You pull the dart out. There's a little bit of blood. You wake up in the morning, though, and you really have to ask yourself, what am I doing with my life here? I just got hit in the face with a dart last night.
Not that I think that the guy that got hit in his face with the dart is the one responsible. Well, he kind of is. But...
well, I mean, communication. We don't know where that broke down.
Yeah, communication's kind of a big thing. But Sab's able to land back at Sochi and clinches the round victory for the 343rd side. So what's going to happen now, ladies and gentlemen, is while we get set up for round 2, I'm going to send you guys to another fan video. I'm going to get the second round set up, and we will be back with round 2 action featuring 343rd taking on TFS81. 343rd leads 1-0. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the TAC View segment of the SATAL 2020 stream. So we're going to go through and look at what actually happened during this round and try and break it down a little bit more. If you guys, for those of you that don't have TAC View, I highly suggest you take a look at it and make it part of your daily brief and debrief sessions, because TAC View is mother trucking awesome. Huge shout outs to Gordo for dropping another 15 gifted subs. Congratulations to everybody joining the fray. And then Xander, not wanting to be outdone, drops 5 tier 1 gifted subs. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Much appreciated. Again, all of the funding generated by donations, subs, Patreon, all of that goes right back into making the stream better, more camera angles, doing all that stuff. So huge shout outs to all of you guys. You guys are really making this a big thing. Aegis Captain says, maps you loaded on TACView. Billy helped me with this. So Billy went to take a quick bio break. I don't know where he got this, but this is a imported map into TACView. So if anybody didn't know that you could do that, you can import maps into TACView, and that's exactly what happened. I think this is BMS maybe, but I don't. Where did you get this map for TACView, Billy?
Okay, so I found it through. I play the game Command Modern Operations, right?
Oh, is that where it's from?
Well, I saw they posted in their Discord like, hey, if you want to add, because there's integration with TACView there, right? So when you're playing SEMO, you can see what's happening in TACView live. So the ground texture is a little bit more important there, right? For like seeing kind of what's happening. So they put out this huge file. I think it was 25 gigs of satellite imagery or textures to kind of have. So what we did is I loaded all of the 25 in for that, but for DCS, we created a pack of just the tiles for the maps in DCS. So I'll try to get that link and make that link available, right? Because it's pretty cool. You just drop those files in your textures folder and they pop up, and it takes a second in most cases to load to get the actual high res. Yeah, it does. But once you get it, the awareness you get, like I noticed just from us doing our debriefings, like you have a way better understanding mentally of where that fight took place because of the correlation from your memory of what you saw to the textures on the ground there. Like it just does something. Like you're actually able to kind of bring yourself back to it a little better, I feel like. So yeah, I highly recommend installing this. But yeah,
shout outs again to Samurai, who gifted a sub, much appreciated. And then Gordo B drops another 5 subs and then dropped another one to another gifted sub. So Gordo, I don't know how many subs you've dropped during this stream, but it's much appreciated, guys. And then Dr. Knockers.
Oh, there's another Athena guy. What's up, Knockers?
Drops 200 bits. Much appreciated. So, guys, again, huge shout-outs to everybody that's contributed. Much appreciated all around. But let's jump into the TAC view and see how these guys get on. So this is the early shots that we talked about. And we can see all the missiles that are in the air. Oh, we do have some aim. Oh, no, those aren't Charlies. Maybe they were Charlies and not Mark 47s. I think they were Charlie variants.
Might have been the case.
I think they were Charlie Mark 47s.
Keep an eye on round 2 because it changes. It definitely changes between rounds.
So they used the Charlies, but I think if this was a Mark 60, these would have been effective shots.
Yep.
These would have been deadly shots. So the Mark 60...
Because they weighted pretty good. I mean, it's not like they ripped those from 60 or 70. I mean, there's good energy on them.
If launched from high enough altitude, is effective from outside of 60 miles.
Oh, we've seen it 70, 80-mile shots, I think, on people landing sometimes. Like, yeah,
well,
it's gnarly.
Especially on first pass, because people are usually really high on the first pass. The Mark 60 is deadly during a first pass. You've got to respect it, and you've got to anticipate those shots and realize that you can't just fly in there when you're not getting a missile warning, because a lot of times if you're at 40,000 feet and you get a missile warning that's a Mark 60 flying at Mach 3, you're not getting away from it. You're going to die.
To the point we were making before, it's when there's a 14 in play, say you're fighting against a team and you have no 14, they have 14s, you need to just know that there are phoenixes coming. Don't shoot. Let those Phoenixes come at you. Be prepared to defend them because you're not going to get close enough with those 120s to do anything. You're just not. You're taking a massive gamble trying to get into parameters and do that there. In certain situations that can work, but I think in this instance or instances like this, you're better off just eating those Phoenixes and getting out of the way.
Right. So there's a lot of good defense here. This is where everything goes to crap. This is the fratricide kill from Siegel onto Rook. I don't know what happened here. I'd like to know what was going on in the cockpit. I'm blaming Jester, but it could have just been that Siegel got a little bit out of sorts, not realizing where he was, because you can see his flight path is kind of all over the place. And in the air, especially in a competitive scenario, it's pretty easy to lose track of where you are and knowing who's in front of you, especially in a Tomcat when you don't have digital readouts and everything's analog. So, and it looks like that may not have hit him. He over defends there, and it could have just been because he was too fast. He's at 10,000 feet. I think he just goes inverted and he doesn't slow down, and he's at Mach 1 going through from 10,000 feet, which you got to pull the air brakes out, throttle back, and try and get out. But I think he probably blacked out going through that. So I don't know what happened there. But this is the changing point. TFS81 could have been a much better position if first those Charlie variants of the Phoenix were Mark 60s and this fratricide didn't happen. So let's continue. I like that 343rd is pressing together, though I don't know what happens to Saab and Seb back here in the back. They cross block, it looks like, and then recommit. I would have liked to just see them commit it on their own. Seb is having to defend, or Seb is having to defend a AIM-54C. And again, if that was a Mark 60, he'd be dead. I mean, it could have got notched there, but that missile would have had way more energy than it does at this point in time. 120 comes in and hits Sky. Sky just doesn't defend. He's at 21,000 feet, doesn't defend, and it just smashes him in the face. I don't know what happened. Maybe he didn't have his RWR on? I'm always curious at what goes through people's heads when they don't defend.
It's certainly a good question. When I watched Attack View, we had nothing. We were like, RWR was the first thing that came up, but
that's and it
seems unlikely.
Guys, if people don't know, it's really easy to not turn on your RWR in these full fight jets. I mean, the F-18 and the F-16, it's really easy to not turn them on or have something misconfigured. So,
yep.
Here's an AIM-54 kill. And this one was launched from... How far was this launched from? So this one was launched from 12 miles. This is a deadly shot, especially with the Charlie, because it's got the better seeker. So it's actually launched from closer to 11 miles. Comes off the rail, and it's unfortunate that Null is in the position that he's just recommitting. So it's going to allow the missile to get even closer before he's able to go fully defensive. He gets the missile warning now, and also it looks like he's trying to wait to get this 120C off, and that a lot of times we talked about this a lot last year. This will end up getting you killed. Just defend, ladies and gentlemen. Don't even bother trying to stay in there. Just defend. Don't try and get the missile off. A lot of times these missiles are launched from out of perimeter anyway, and they're not going to reach their target, and you're launching for your own, make yourself feel better.
It's a panic decision. Like you're making a decision in panic, and that's never the right. Like you shouldn't. Like if you're doing that, do the opposite. Like pull away, come away from that. You know? Good point. So that AIM-54, it's going Mach 2.6 still. He's not. I think he's trying to get in the notch, but he's still at 2,000 feet, Mach 1. You got to have a perfect notch at that speed, and it's not there. You can see it's off just a little bit. If you drew a 90-degree line, you can see his lift vector coming out. He's not in a perfect notch. He'd need to turn slightly left. Say what? Sorry. I don't know if you can. I think if you switch your mode, you might be able to turn the camera, because if you can get a little bit more perspective and see that from the side, I think people would understand. Like, zoom out a little bit there. And you want to check that trail because you can kind of see what he did there when you look at it from the side perspective.
So he's
there you
trying to notch, but you can see his lift vector isn't lining up with the trajectory of the missile, and he's not perfect enough at that speed to notch that effectively. So at around Mach 1, you need that to be pretty perfect in your notch. You can notch
he
from
needed
this
to
altitude.
pull cold longer. He just didn't feel like he pulled cold long enough. Like he split S's and comes down, but then he just heads out to the 90 there. And I'm not sure if he's trying to support something, but if he was, like at that point, you got to kind of give up on that.
I think it's just panic. I think it
might probably the case just from the look of it. Yeah.
But that was a good, well in perimeter AIM 54 shot. So well done there. All right. That would have been. That missile was trashed. I think it's actually on Scorpion. So this is the point where Seagull and Scorpion are the only two remaining, and I'm pretty sure they're out of Phoenixes at this point. If they would have had Phoenixes, yeah, we're seeing the AIM 7s come off. If they would have had Phoenixes, Seeb would be dead. Right here. He wouldn't get away from this. He'd be dead. Almost without a doubt, unless he notches it really effectively, because he's... How far away is he? He's 7 miles. That missile would still be accelerating. At that point, he would have to notch in order to get away from that. But instead, he only has an AIM 7, and they're slower than your grandma trying to drive on the highway.
Especially right now, it feels like there's something not right with that AIM 7 on the ED side of the house, because it just doesn't, like in all of our testing with it, it just doesn't feel like it's performing like like it used to, or be like it should.
Here's another opportunity: 8 miles, Seeb dead, Phoenix. Like, you're not gonna feet wet. You have to notch, and if you don't notch effectively, dead.
I mean, those two could have pulled cold long enough, come around, and launched enough Phoenixes to at least get it down to where they had an advantage. Like, if you take back those Phoenixes from that open salvo, they could have taken out 3 of those guys, and now you have 2v1 with 7s and 9s left. That's a doable fight. You can work yourself into that and get that and get that victory. But you have to have those Phoenixes. It wouldn't be easy, but once again, we don't know what the missile state of the other guy is at that point, right? So I just think having those Phoenixes for late in the round is so much more valuable than chucking them out in the beginning there when everyone is so amped and ready to defend and waiting for it. That why give it to them? You're just wasting your own missiles.
And then this is where these guys get hit. Both Tomcats get hit by 120s at the same time. I don't know if they just gave up. It kind of seems that way because they don't defend. They just fly straight into these things. And Scorpion's dropping chaff or something, but flying in a straight line and dropping countermeasures, no matter if it's IR or radar, it's not going to do anything. You're just going to get hit in the face.
Yeah, it's just overwhelming there. That's what happens. He's trying to support.
The same thing happens to Seagull. Seagull gets hit by this 120. He doesn't even drop any countermeasures, but no defensive maneuvers by anybody. He gets hit, and then seeing that he got hit, just recommits, gets in behind him. I don't know where that 120 is going.
The 120 behind him making the U-turn is pretty comical, too. I mean, that thing was, it was at very slow at the end of it, but still, it's trying to go back
it's
around.
It's Dad, I'm coming. I'm trying. I'm not giving up. But he gets it. The last missile's an AIM-9M, and we haven't seen a lot of AIM-9s be effective, but the last hit's an AIM-9. And Seagull's on fire at this point. He's probably severely impacted. His countermeasures and RWR are probably screwed. He's dead. So Seagull gets taken out. And that's
One of the things with the AIM-9 too is I don't think most people realize how little explosive and shrapnel there is coming out of an AIM-9 at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. It's really good for rear aspect shots when you're putting all that up someone's tailpipe. But if you come in from the side or the front, obviously with the canopy and the pilot being there a little bit, but if you hit someone from the side with that thing, you're really just kind of shotgun spraying the side of their plane, and you got to really hope you hit something vital. But there's not a whole lot of explosive going on in the front of one of those things.
Well, and whose book was it that I read? Famous pilot from Vietnam, Robert Olds. He talks about that a lot with their seed missions and stuff, how ineffective and how small the warheads are on a lot of these missiles, that even if they get close, the damage they can do to the aircraft is kind of insignificant. So reading Robin Old's book kind of put it in perspective that a lot of the times when we get hit by missiles in DCS, not necessarily dying, I don't think is that out of character.
And that'll
Maybe.
get better with the enhanced damage model. I know ED's talked about. I think we'll see that whole side of things really start to get more immersive.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. That I kind of get irritated with stuff when people get hit though by things, and then they're not. Systems aren't limited at all by anything. So I kind of get irritated at that point.
Yeah, it's
hopefully
frustrating.
that'll change. But guys, that's the end of the TAC view. I think I got to remember of what side 343's on. I'm going to look. I think they're on the right. So I'm going to give them a point on the way. But let's jump back into the sim. This is round 2. We're going to be watching 343rd depart from Sanaki. This time, again, this is Sanaki versus Sochi. So let's jump back into the sim, see how these guys are going to get on. 343rd is up 1-0 currently. Let me fix something
And
real quick.
I think 81. You know, there were various points in this first round where things could have happened and they could have ended up with momentum and having some advantage. So the second round, I think the same should be said, right? They could easily be in a position where they can win this match. So I think a couple, just a few better decisions in the moment, right? And things could go their way in this one. So
yeah,
I mean, I don't want to give anything away there, but it's about those decisions in the moment.
I really think in round 1, some better decisions. We ran this in round shot selection and a change of weapons from the Charlie to the Mark 60. That could have been very, very different. I wonder in real life if the Mark 60 was just better and they changed to the Charlie because the Mark 60 was expensive. I wonder if that was
could certainly be a possibility. I know there was a lot that went on with that whole project throughout its lifespan. And I think most people forget that shooting down fighters with that missile was really an afterthought or a secondary mission for that missile, right? So that missile was designed specifically to take out, and I would assume almost everybody here who flies the F-14 has a pretty good understanding that thing was designed to shoot down bombers and the Rush. Oh wow.
Jazzy. Okay, we gotta regroup. I gotta cover some stuff. Okay, we gotta jump back and I gotta hold on. There's been a lot of subs.
I thought it broke for a second. I was like, what happened?
So Gordo, I think, dropped another. And guys, I'm sorry if I missed somebody, but there's been a lot that happened while we were talking at the beginning of Attack Loop. So Gordo dropped Xander dropped another 5, I think. Xander dropped 5. Gordo dropped another 1. Then Gifted another 1. Then Xander dropped another 1. Then Gordo dropped another 1. Then Gordo dropped another. And then Jazzy dropped 50.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Welcome to the show. And ladies out there.
And I guess we're taking off at 16:45. These guys are departing. Rossman is leading the way for 343rd. Do you think fuel was an impact in the last match? I saw that I didn't see what the F-16 was taking. We'll check on it here in this round. I wonder if the F-16 took 1 tank instead of 2 or 3. But the F-18 for TFS81 only took 1. So you think the fuel was an issue? But that round really didn't go very long.
No, and frankly, the more I thought about it after I pointed that out in the beginning, and I was kind of curious about it, but the more I thought about it, well, okay, if I'm on one of the match setups that's a little bit closer, right? I know in the Hornet, probably not going to need all that fuel. I mean, dude, I could fly across most of these maps smartly enough with 1 tank. I mean, you just don't need it in the Hornet at the end of the day, right? Unless you're going to be overstationed or doing all kinds of stuff. Like it's just, you don't need it. So I would rather have those double 120 pylons because I'm trying to take a lot of missiles here. I don't want those on the outer pylons if I can avoid it, just because of the drag and the maneuvering and trying to pull into SS maneuvers and stuff at high speed. Those outer double 120 pylons are going to slow you down pretty greatly there. So if I can avoid having those on the outer pylons, I'm going to try to do it in some capacity just for drag purposes.
Samurai says, I was thinking about gifting 50 subs too, but these dolts aren't worth it.
That might be the most true comment on this.
None
this
of
chat
us
I've
are
ever
worth
seen.
it, Samurai. None of us are worth it. Dr. Knockers drops another 100 bits, and then Athena Tab drops another 100 bits. Big shout outs to everybody, guys. Thank you to everybody. I really appreciate it. And then Athena Tab comes in and drops another 400 bits. Riding along now with Starry Fox 9 and Seeb departing. Starry has full flaps. I don't fly the F-18 a lot anymore, but don't you want to be at half flaps?
This is debatable. One of the guys we fly with, who's in the know on these type of things, I believe says full flaps on takeoff, but I could be wrong there. I believe is
Even
is
from a runway?
From a runway, yeah.
Really? All right.
I might be mixing that up there now in the moment. I get confused between the carrier and the field.
You know what I actually do? I actually take off with the F-18 when I do use it sparingly with no flaps on the runway because I don't like what it does when you put the flaps up after you lift off and the whole plane like moves around. And it's just I don't like it. So I'd rather take off at a little bit faster speed, have my crew chief mad at me for the tire wear. And
yeah, it's all about loadout at that point. Like, what do you got on the wings, right?
Tab says Super Hornet full flaps.
Super Hornets full flaps. That's right. Yeah, that's okay. Because I get jumbled up between all of those things there, between the super and the legs.
Quat says, I've been out of town for 2 weeks. When was this event? How did it turn out? Lots of participation. How'd the servers hold up? The event is still going. It's SATAL 2020. We run through January. This particular match took place about a month ago. So it's a track. We're a couple weeks. What are they? Why are we seeing missiles launched already?
40
miles.
I'll say this. The 81 guys definitely, I think, maybe learned from that in the first one. Because you see here, it's almost the 343 guys now putting out, but they don't. But I mean, I think we saw 6 missiles. And
well, the 343 third guys did it last match too, or last round too. They launched early. Everybody launched early, but TFS81 they launched a lot of stuff early. Yep. That's better. Mark 60s, yes, much better. So there goes the Mark 60. Flipping over to Scorpion, you can see the Mark 60 taking off. No loft though.
Yeah, didn't get the nose up there. Maybe wanted to do that for that one.
Do you have to tell the Phoenix to do that in the F-14?
I know we try to. I believe in Jazzy may be able to help me out here and comment on this. I believe Doctrine for us is trying to get that nose up 10 degrees on those long shots. But I'm sorry, I don't know if Jumper's in here. It's probably a better question for him, but I'm sure Jazzy can answer rather. Mm-hmm. But I know trying to give that thing a little uphill action is going to help out quite a bit.
Guys, these are much better shots. You can see how much higher the energy state is coming in against Rossman. If we jump and look at where that missile is, it should be coming in right there. So it's 3 miles behind him, and it's probably over 1,000 knots still, 2.7, 2.6. Probably not going to catch him because Rossman defended pretty early. The other missile coming in against Unam, so they made a bit of a pilot change. I don't think it's going to catch him either. So if we jump over to him, oh, that one gets a little bit closer than the one on Rossman. Its closest was 0.2 nautical miles. But that shot was launched from like 40 or 50 nautical away, and you can see how close they got. And if they waited even just a smidgen longer to defend, they would have gotten pulverized. But good early defense from 343rd. I would have liked them to see them instead of going, I don't know if they thought they were notching, but they weren't. I would have liked to just see them turn cold and do a little bit of a high-speed serpentine.
Yep.
Seeb is now coming in against Banana. We're now riding along with Seeb. I'm going to see if I can grab Banana here. It's not worth it. Banana already broke away.
Nice shot there, though. Crank.
It's not a bad shot. It's not a bad... Oh! And you guys could probably see that in the distance.
Yeah.
But the F-14 flew into the ground.
I broke this one down pretty extensively when I was checking the TAC view. He is head on there. The moment the missile leaves the 18's rails, he gets that RWR warning. Immediately, the 14 pulls 12G trying to S maneuver out of it. I think he either blacks or breaks the plane apart and hits the ground there because he just immediately pulls 12Gs and it's just game over from there.
Yeah, and there's no reason to do that.
Nope.
You can slow down, deploy your air brakes. There's no reason to be that fast. Don't be in that much of a hurry or a panic, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
You should feel okay getting away from this. Let's switch over to Seagull because Seagull's got a 120 coming on him. We can see it from 3 miles away. He's still pretty high, 10,000 feet. That could be trouble. 1.3, 1.2, 1.1. I think it's going to catch him. Nope. It did not catch him. It lost track of him.
Over G.
And if we flip back over and look at where Rossman is, you can see a 120 chasing him down, but it's 4 miles behind him. So let's jump to the F10 map. Missiles kind of all over the place. Suki's got a 120 coming on him. That's coming from probably low.
Xander with a
there it is.
Great quote there. Fly with urgency, not panic. I like that.
And that 120's not. 343rd is doing a pretty good job of staying fast,
right?
Which I really like. So we got Sieb now coming in and going head to head with Seagull.
I feel like Ross
grab
probably
Seagull.
tanks at this point.
Get some dual view action. Zoom out. Seagull's got a 120 coming in on him from high altitude. Can see it. It's gonna, oh my, I thought it was barely gonna miss him, but Seagull gets popped without wings, and you need wings to fly, unfortunately.
Yep. Facts.
He gets taken down. So 343rd, and Suki actually just flew right by a 120. I don't see where that went. Oh, it's below him. So if we flip over to Suki, you can kind of see that 120 down there, hazy against the ground, but I thought he was going to be in a bit more trouble. But TFS81, I guess I missed one of their pilots get taken down. We'll have to see it in the TAC view.
Yeah.
One pilot made it. He's all alone.
Wolf pack hunting here. This was I saw this in the TAC view and went, ooh, I know how this is going to end. It's not pretty.
Well, we all know how this is going to end.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because there's no mountain cover, there's no anything, and if we look at this F-14, he's got 1 Phoenix left, 4 AIM-9. So he's got the weapons to make it happen, but I don't see it happening. So let's ride along with him, riding along with Scorpion. I'm going to try and grab Rossman as he comes in against Scorpion. Let's go to dual view and see if we can see these missiles coming in. So Rossman breaks away. There goes an AIM-54. 120's coming in against Scorpion from head on. And he gets smashed by one. No damage. There's the second one. He loses his right horizontal stab, and he is toast. So Rossman, I think, is still okay. Where'd that 54 go? There's the 54. It's coming against Sieb. So it's right there, and it's actually still powered. That's a Charlie variant, not a Mark 60, and Sieb's in trouble. That thing's okay. I thought it was going to desync and not hit him, but Sieb gets pounded, and he gets taken down. So Scorpion goes down, not without a fight. He ends up taking Sieb down with him.
Yeah, nice trade there to at least go out with a fight, not turn around and run there. He faced the music. I'm assuming he knew at that point when nobody's responded on the old SRS. That's always a surreal moment, right? If you're muted in the Discord or whatever and you got the SRS up and all of a sudden you're keying up the radio to start asking for people and nobody's responded. It's always a great moment.
It's a terrifying moment, at least when you use SRS. Us, at least in 64th, we don't use SRS except for the Tomcats. We use TeamSpeak. So we're able to, we don't pander to that realism. We're gamers.
Yeah, no, right.
And Billy, I think last week we had talked about, we just haven't gotten into rhythm here yet, where in these dual view moments, what we're going to try and do in the future is we're going to switch to an online debriefing for TAC view, and we can kind of talk about the positioning of where everybody's at. And the reason we're able to do that is because these are tracks, so I can hit pause. But what that's going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to set up the dual camera view, so we should get a more cinematic viewpoint from a lot of these camera angles instead of me trying to set it up in real time. But that's just something Billy and I have to get worked out and figured out, and we haven't done that yet.
No, it's absolutely. I think, I think our goal, our mission, right, is to try to provide you guys with the best overall understanding of what's happening in these matches, right? So, and I think somebody just pointed how much they love the live tack view. The live tack view is so amazing, and I implore all you guys, especially some of you guys that may have just purchased Tac View Advanced. There's a ton of buttons and options down there on the bottom, how you can sort the information for each contact, all the different stuff that's displayed. And once you really kind of get into the nuts and bolts of how TACView works, is a lot you can be able to learn just from either clicking on somebody or just watching what's happening with the right data given to you. So I really implore you guys, take some time and learn those little controls down there at the bottom, because it really, once you learn how to use TACView, you can actually get more out of watching your TAC views. So note out there, just the different ability to check for, show Mach speeds and all the different telemetry that can be kind of displayed for you. Really cool. Well worth getting to, getting used to operating.
Quat says he loves the immersion for SR. I do too. It's just,
nice.
It's kind of a pain in the ass. I like TeamSpeak. I'm a old school. I've never moved away from TeamSpeak. Ventrilo and TeamSpeak. I loved Ventrilo, TeamSpeak more, but I think TeamSpeak for audio quality is still the best.
No doubt.
And there's a lot of things you can do with TeamSpeak that I wish Discord would implement, and then I would be fine with Discord, but you can't utilize whispers or anything in Discord. There's a lot of the granular stuff that you can do in TeamSpeak that you can't do in Discord. And if Discord would do that, I'd abandon.
I think
TeamSpeak.
We as gamers need to have a realistic view with Discord. Discord just took $100 million in funding, and they publicly stated they're moving away from being a platform just for gamers. Now what does that mean? I think it can mean multiple things for us in the long run. Do we end up getting some better audio quality, better stuff now that these guys are a little bit better funded? Possibly. Now, how much of that is in a focus to the aspect of gaming is still needs to be seen there. I'm really curious what's going to happen with Discord in the next year to 2 years, and how all of us who are the pretty avid gamers use it on a pretty regular basis, and how things may change for us.
Luke West brings up a good point, and I don't know if this is what he meant, but Discord may be changing their emphasis because of the live classroom, like distance learning and stuff, and trying to take some of that market share away from Zoom. Which
very true.
I despise Zoom.
I don't like that either. And if Discord could get some better stability and not hog as much of my resources as it currently hogs, like it is, if you go start checking Discord, I mean, the amount of resources it ends up using at times is egregious in some ways. But it's true though, the ability to teach, especially for DCS, like if you guys aren't sharing your screens when you're trying to learn some of this DCS stuff, and utilizing the ability for someone to like quickly look at what you're doing inside the plane, like you're really missing out. Like those tools are a big help in learning these modules, and having someone, I can sit and look over someone's shoulder and watch their stream in about 2 minutes and start pointing out stuff that you may want to try or may want to do a little differently, just because there's not you don't have a total understanding of the airframe yet. That stuff can be observed pretty quickly just by doing that type of stuff. So definitely worth noting there.
Trying to get a decent camera angle. We're watching 343rd come in here. RT being back to Sanaki. Looks like Rossman's almost wheels down. He's got a trailer. Can't tell who that is behind him. And then we've got an overfly by an F-18 that's going to be coming over from our right that we're not going to see. I don't think Rossman's going to have any problem. He's got a decently balanced load. Guys, you got to jettison your fuel tanks. Rossman, you still have 2 fuel tanks on. Come on.
And Shout out to Squado. Glad you found us. Welcome. Hope we can help with building some of that SA for you. This is certainly, watching SATAL early on for me was a big way that I think I helped build my own SA like that. So, welcome to the party.
Yeah, it's building SA is one of those things that you just have to force yourself to get better at. It's not something that's easy to do until you force yourself to move away from all of the pilot aids and stuff that you have in the cockpit. Xander says, would love to watch a detailed debrief play-by-play for these, as I'm sure there are hundreds of little lessons one can learn. What do you mean, Xander? Would love to watch a detailed debrief play-by-play.
I think he's watching more along the lines of like what we do with the TAC view, but like an extended version where you're kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of things.
Yeah, maybe. That takes a lot of time.
Yeah, no, I probably spend about an hour, half hour to an hour watching these, just taking notes and doing stuff. It's not, it's definitely a process when you sit down and start diving into it like that.
Riding along now with Suki as he comes in finals for Sanaki. A little bit of a flyover. We'll flip over so you can see the tail end of that. Starry Fox putting on a little bit of an air show over top of Rossman. Let's come back to Suki as he's about 5 miles outside of Sanaki. Finals on runway. What angle?
Victory
07. I think this is 07 for Sanaki.
Good to know that was Victory Beer. I didn't.
But Billy, what do you think these guys TFS could have done there in that round?
Difficult to say. I think the shot selection was better than the first round. Certainly saw some improvement there between rounds. So they definitely kind of got together on that. Maybe just, and I can't speak to this, we're not hearing the communication, but just a little bit more organization after the bullets start flying initially there.
It seemed like
too.
everybody was a singleton and there wasn't really any cohesion between the flight in two ships or what have you.
And that was evident in both rounds too. So just more organization, more teamwork, more communication, I think would probably yield them some better results there, because they're doing some good things. There's a lot of right things that were going on in the mix of all that. I think it's just more or less the 343 guys, just had their act together a little bit more in regards to how they went about things in that match. So no doubt there's potential in 81. They just gotta keep working on cleaning that up, and like I said, I really feel like it's a communication thing.
I think it's a communication thing too, but hindsight in a lot of this is 2020. So we can talk all day about this stuff, but what really happened, we don't know. We're not in the cockpit. Communication, like Billy just said, is a massive factor in how teams are able to perform. If you can't communicate well, you're not going to be able to fly well as a team. So the teams that communicate well are the ones that are typically going to win. And I have experience in that since when I flew with 51st. We won SATAC in 2017. We won SATAL in 2018. And a big part of that was communication and effective communication. And when you can effectively communicate, you're able to get yourself out of positions that you wouldn't normally be able to get out of, because you can communicate to your wingman, hey, I'm in the shitter, I need help, here's where I am, and people can know exactly where they are. Another thing that comes kind of with communication is the unspoken communication, where in that you gain that by flying with people for extended periods of time and learning what they're going to do and where they're going to be, and just knowing how to react in certain situations based on that experience flying with somebody else.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Gordo B for the gifted sub. He's actually gifted 7 since I last caught up with him. Sorry for cutting you off there.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Starry go ahead.
I was just gonna say Starry Naz going same thing you were there. Go ahead.
Starry Fox 9 is now landed, wheels down on Sanaki, so all 3 of the combatants for the 343rd side have landed safely. They lost 1. I don't remember who it was. Oh, nope. I guess he couldn't stop and decided he was going to do a touch and go. So he went wheels up, but let's take that opportunity, since he actually didn't put it down, to jump to the TAC view. I'm going to send you guys to a fan video again. Not sure which one we're going to see, but I'm going to send you guys back to a fan video. I'm going to get the TAC view set up. We're going to go through it, and then we'll wrap it up, and we will be done for the day and coming back for the match on Tuesday. But I'm going to send you guys to a fan video, get the TAC view set up, and we will do the TAC view debrief for here, round 2, where 343rd took it and taking the overall match win 2-0. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That's a long fan video. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing, so I didn't want to draw this out. But we're back with the round 2 TAC view between TFS81 and not my squadron, and 343rd. Billy and I were talking about a future match, so that's where that came from. But 343rd during this match is the one that takes the long shots. And I don't know if they're trying to get a reaction, but I mean, they do all right. This 120C coming in against Banana actually does decently well, but it's at Mach 1.6. Banana is at 38,000 feet, so they do a decent job about making them come down. I think they could have waited a bit longer, though they were coming in against Mark 47. So I probably need to eat what I just said. They did a good job launching from where they did, and then having to defend against the Phoenix. I can't fault them from launching from the distance that they did. Nothing really happens. Those Phoenix get really close. 120 gets launched by Seeb coming in against Seagull. That's going to get defeated, or I think it gets unsupported and it just totally misses Seagull and nothing happens. Tell me if I miss a kill here, Billy, but nothing seems to happen here for a while. Well, no,
I tried to post a link for the TAC views and I got banned.
This is Banana. Banana... Billy, you talked about this early. Is at Mach 1.34 at 16,000 feet. He's really fast. I don't know if you guys know this, but going into a vertical notch, which is really pretty close to what Banana did, at that airspeed is not a good idea.
If you the little icons at the bottom, if you click the one, it should show when selected, if you put Mach on, you can see his Mach. I mean, or his G rather. He hits, I think, 12 Gs at that turn. I think he's out cold. I don't know if he makes it through that. Maybe, I don't know. 14 guys may be able to allude to that. I don't know if he breaks his wings or if he's just out cold.
His issue there is that he just goes into a vertical notch or a split S's, and at this airspeed, you have got to just. You can't do this. You have to try and get a better camera angle here. You have to try and get this. So he takes this almost into the pure vertical. What he needs to do is come out. He needs to make it, instead of a straight down, this needs to be at like 45. He needs to be out here. So he's still going down, but it's not as aggressive, so you can elongate this turn. You don't have to be as aggressive and pull 12G to be able to get into this and not run into the ground, the invincible ground. It needs to be out up here. This is what I typically do. So when I'm ingressing on these shots, this shot would be a great shot. How far is this? This is 10 miles.
Yeah, so it's inside because he gets the warning off the rail, because that's why the moment that missile leaves the rail, he pulls that 12 Gs, and he, like I said, I think he's just out. I think the moment he gets an RWR warning, I've been in that thing. I've had that happen, and I've reacted that quickly where I heard that RWR warning, I knew I was close, and I pulled, and it's just game over at that point.
Right. So in this position, like if I was in an F-16, I'd be ingressing for this shot at somewhere in the ballpark of Mach 1.4 to 1.5. And I would release a weapon coming in against an adversary at 13,000 feet at probably 9 miles. And releasing a weapon at that distance, at that airspeed, the guy's going to die unless he's able to notch it. Or if he's fast enough to be able to turn away and get away. But seeing as Seeb is at 0.9 Mach, he's not fast enough to be able to get away from a missile launched at that distance and that airspeed. And his altitude isn't low enough to force the missile into a low enough trajectory where it's dealing with friction and stuff to slow it down.
He's lucky that Banana doesn't have a Phoenix to fire at him here, because if he did, there's no getting away from
being at that airspeed to get away from it, you can't split S. You have to take it at a 45-degree angle. And if you take it at a 45, you can do it at like 8G and maintain a good amount of your airspeed, maybe slow down to Mach 1.1 or 1.2, but maintain a ton of your airspeed to where when you're cold, nothing is going to catch you outside of Mach 60. So you've got to you have to think ahead of your airplane. We talk about this a lot. If you're fast and you're that low, even if he wasn't this low, he lawn darts. I mean, it's not like he bellies into the ground. He lawn darts. So you've got to take your speed into consideration and adjust your trajectories and your defensive maneuvers accordingly.
I just think the Tomcat here, it's a bad situation. Like you're you get that close and you start having to pull maneuvers at that fast and that at that degree of difficulty, the odds of you pulling back up with stuff not working in that plane is pretty high at that point. You're stressing the jet in ways you shouldn't. Like, the pilot needs to be better about not allowing himself to get into that type of situation there where you're head on with that type of plane without a Phoenix. I mean, more or less than anything is probably the most egregious part there.
Right.
Like, you just don't have any business to be head on with somebody.
Well, let's move on to this one. So Seagull's now coming head-to-head against Rossman. Rossman's in a pretty good position to be able to put an effective weapon against Seagull. He just doesn't wait long enough. He launches at 8 miles at Mach. How fast is he? How fast are you? At Mach 1.
0.9. Yeah.
You gotta
basically,
wait a little. You want to be at like 8 miles, 7 miles at that speed when you're at Mach 1 and you know your adversary. 'Cause you're gonna get a speed readout on your adversary. You know he's a Hornet. If he's under Mach 1, you can afford to wait a little bit. You can afford to wait until you get the RWR warning from his missile. You're gonna have enough time to be able to get away. So if he would have waited just a little bit longer, this missile, instead of being that distance behind him, and if we grab it, that missile behind him, it's 1.6. How close does it get? It gets within 2,000 feet. If he would have waited another mile, he'd be dead.
Yep.
And look how far away the missile is from Rossman. So he has enough time to be able to wait. He just needs to wait. Just patience. Patience. In these maneuvers, if you're able to wait, are going to result in extraordinarily high PK chances. So it's all about waiting just a little bit longer.
I don't think most people realize how much more effective that 120 is inside of 10 miles. Like, waiting till the 10-mile mark passes is a very dicey thing to do, right? You have to kind of be ready and be prepared for very quick and smart maneuvering. Mm-hmm. But when you close to within 10, your probability of a kill just absolutely skyrockets.
Well, and even under 10. I mean, I'm talking about releasing that at 7. So
no, that's what I'm saying. The more you can wait to just get past 10 and get in that zone and wait for the right moment is your best bet at that point.
It's all about you're playing chicken to a point.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And real pilots aren't going to do this because they don't have the opportunity to get into a sim and really figure out these ranges.
Right.
But in the sim, we can die repeatedly in the mission editor and stuff, learning this stuff. So you have a bit more opportunity to figure things out. Sky's now head-to-head with Suki. This missile's launched from 10 miles, from 15,000 feet, Mach 1. It's 15,000 feet across the board. Sky was at Mach 1. So he defends. And you can see the difference here in the ideas behind defensive maneuvers. Suki defends almost directly away. Sky, I don't know if he thinks he's notching or what he's doing, but he's allowing the missile to close.
He's trying to let the flares the chaff do all the work, and that is not acceptable that close.
Well,
it's just
not.
not.
Look at what he's not even notching, right? So
he's just chaffing.
Yeah, you're just chaffing. And to notch effectively, this missile needs to be right on your lift vector, not at this angle. It needs to be following your lift vector to lose you in the background. So when you're at this angle, he'd have to continue this left-hand pull to be able to get into a notch. And when you do that, when you're in a bank, you're going to lose the RWR.
The seeker head's barely seeing that chaff. At that angle right there, it's barely even looking at that chaff.
Yeah. Oh, Mongoose, the notch is not unreliable. I can notch virtually everything. It's all about being comfortable enough and understanding where the missile is in your RWR, where its seeker head is pointing. You got to be able to think outside of your airplane. You have to be thinking about not just what your airplane's doing, but what the missile is doing and what the enemy's radar is doing. So, and the slower you are, the more varied you can be in being off the perfect axis for being able to notch that. And he's not
notching properly.
He's not slow enough to be able to make this effective. A B, maybe. ER, this would be notched, but against a 120, no way. He should have just been cold. I mean, you can see the distance that these missiles are. They were launched virtually at the same time. You can see that this missile is at Mach 1.69, and this one's at Mach 1.95. So it's already pulled. It's not having to pull anymore. This one, it's having to chase Suki down, and it's really not going to get much closer
And
And
if you look at what what his reasoning for doing there is, he's trying to be able to recommit quicker than the other guy, right?
well,
And
we're
that's what gets
surmising
him
that.
killed there. Right, exactly. You can tell what he's trying to do is he's trying not to have to turn all the way back around and then come around again. If you can ditch that missile, keep that nose pointed roughly in the same direction you want to be going, allows you to maintain that speed and be hot on that bandit that just
Mhm.
shot at you. But in that case right there, he just didn't have the situation to try to pull that off it. He
Mhm.
needed to respect that missile more than he did.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, and here's the complete opposite of that scenario. So we're going Starry Fox 9 against Seagull. Missiles launched from 7 miles. Seagull is way too slow to be able to effectively outrun a missile. He's at 0.75 Mach at 3,000 feet. If he's waiting to get this close to a bandit, he needs to be way, way faster. His only opportunity to get away from this missile is notching. He's too slow to effectively turn tail and run.
Yep.
And you'll see as we play this, that's exactly what happens. So he's way too slow. Starry Fox 9 turns away before the missile even comes off the rail from Seagull. And you can see 0.75 how quickly that 120 is closing. It's still Mach 1.5 by the time it impacts
He just
Seagull's
kept
aircraft.
turning there.
He's way too slow.
He just
Way
needed
too
to
slow.
keep turning too. If he had kept cranking the other way, he would have slowed down more, but he might have bent that thing
He
around the
may
corner
be
there a
able.
little
He
better.
may be able to get away from that if he serpentine to bleed it out of energy, having
Yes,
it to
yes.
change in terminal guidance. But in order to get away from a missile in this scenario from this close, you have to be over Mach 1, in my opinion. You're
Right there.
this slow. You have to notch.
He rolls the wings and turns back left, and that does it. If he had kept the wing angle he was at and kept pulling in that direction, I think he could have avoided that, maybe with a little jab.
And now we're on the last combatant for the TFS side, Alley Scorpion. And Alley Scorpion, I think, realizes that his luck has run out, and he's recommitting here. And guys, Urutaraman brings up a good point that I am by no means trying to talk down to people. SATAL is hard.
Yeah.
It is way different than PvP. I by no means am discarding that a lot of these guys, their nerves are probably getting the best of them.
Very true.
These teams are, it's nerve-wracking to get into this. And it takes years of flying in competitive play to be able to finally get to a point where your nerves aren't really a factor. And even then, your nerves are still going to be an issue. How does notching work? Notching allows you, it has to do with the Doppler effect. I am not an expert in this. Somebody in chat probably knows way more than this.
Doesn't say
about
there's
this.
a lot.
There's a lot of
resources
stuff
there.
that goes into this, but in simplistic fashion, you fade into the background. You are removing the closure between yourself and the missile. Not closure, your forward velocity. So when you take away the forward velocity, you turn into background noise for the incoming radar from the missile or the aircraft, and you fade into the background and you just get lost. So go ahead.
As I say, if a radar beam is a cone, right, you want to stay to the edge of that cone, right? Because that cone can only articulate so many degrees in so many directions, right? Even though the plane is moving. But the point is to be at the edge of that cone the entire time to make that radar or that plane work as hard as physically possible to stay with you, right? You want to be either ideally outside of that cone, right? You're maneuvering to try to get outside of that radar cone.
Mm-hmm.
But if you picture the cone coming off the missile, right? A physical cone coming off of it, you're trying to stay to whatever edge of that cone you can. If you're in the middle of it or closer to the center, it's going to struggle less to get you. So you're trying to force yourself to the edge of where that radar can detect you. So it's the missile itself is pulling as much G's and working as hard as possible to try to stay with you. So if you can try to just visualize that cone and placing yourself somewhere around the edge of where that cone is, you'll be in a good spot.
Desert Fox says, but only below you can actually in DCS notch above it. DCS does some weird things. It's not modeled very well.
Yes.
It's really just you need to change you need to not have any forward momentum towards the emitter is really how it works in DCS. Helicopters are also screwed up in DCS because in real life, if you're in a helicopter, you shouldn't be able to notch because your rotor blades are constantly moving forward and towards and away from the emitter. Yeah, you can notch your aircraft, but the rotor blades screw all that up because they're moving forward and away from the emitter.
User joined your channel.
They're going to show up as a
What's up,
massive.
dude?
They're going to show up as a massive
Sound muted.
spike or contact on the radar platform. But enough about that. Let's talk about. And sorry for Yaga popping it. I got to talk to him in a minute after we finish up here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. So what I would do in this scenario, 343rd's in a pretty good position. However, they allow TFS81 Scorpion to recommit. Something you can do to force him to stay defensive, just put a long AMRAAM on him, because he doesn't know necessarily how far away it is. But you're forcing him to have to think about it. You're forcing him to have to deal with it, and you're forcing him to have to move part of his cognitive ability away from recommitting to now having to deal with a threat. So if you would have put an AMRAAM on him, he's going to have to stay defensive and allow you to. So right here, when he starts to recommit, AMRAAM, even slightly like right here, when you start to see him recommit, missile. Force him to go back into a defensive posture, because he's not going to realize there's a missile on him until he's about here, and he's going to more than likely turn around, because if he continues, he's going to eat it in the face.
And a good way to keep an eye on that is your vertical closure rate. So the moment you see that vertical closure rate jump from like 150, 200 up to like 5 or 6, no, that guy's coming back around on you, and that is the perfect time to shoot, because he's in an energy transition state, right? He's transitioning energy from one direction to another, right? He's carrying it around that turn. And if you can get him to have to maneuver while he's doing that, i.e. that RWR spike coming on, he's going to bleed off way more of that than he wants to, and it's going to make him way better of a target for that missile. So catching somebody in that transitive state between cold to hot is your ideal moment to catch them with their pants
down.
That
first missile isn't necessarily even to get them to kill them. It's to force them to continue in a position where you're able to continue the closure and get a higher PK shot. So if he would have done that, now this distance, instead of it being 11 miles, it'd be closing, because he's over Mach 1, he's under Mach 1. It would have been greatly closed, and Rossman could have run him down. So it's all about creating a narrative where the guy has to continually defend, and you're able to continually stay on the attack. Because since they don't do that, Scorpion's able to get an AIM-54 off. There it goes. Targets Seb instead of Rossman. And at this position, inside 10 miles, he's just dead.
Yep.
And they do a decent job of closing him down. They were able to gain that closure because he turned around and recommitted. I think Scorpion's just like, I can't do anything.
Well, credit to him. We've seen guys run away and run around trying to avoid the inevitable in that situation. And credit to Scorpion for turning around, slinging some missiles, and eating what he knew he had coming to him.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. But he ends up getting run down anyway. And 3 pilots, he couldn't really do much in that situation. But that brings us to the end. So let's jump back in. So, guys, that brings us, well, I said that 4 times. But now we're at the end between the 343rd in the TFS81 match. 343rd won 2 rounds to 0. And guys, for the guys that competed, I by no means want anybody to think that I'm talking bad about people. This is just a learning experience. I am not the end-all, be-all either. I'm just saying what has worked effectively for me, flying the years that I have in competitive DCS, and I'm just using this as an educational tool. Trying to enlighten the DCS community, because competitive DCS I think is awesome, and the more people we can get into it, the better. And I've seen since SATAL and SATAC came back, the breadth and skill level of DCS pilots has improved dramatically.
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
I'm not putting that on me. I'm putting that on people competing.
And I think we do a pretty good job of pointing out the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think that's kind of incumbent upon us here as we, show these matches, right? It is all part of the story that's being told. So I think at the end of the day, right, one way to not have that stuff is to, focus on improving a lot of these things we're pointing out. Not that we're like, the be all end all to experts here, but I think there is value in the stuff we're pointing out for these teams to come back the next round and not have that stuff be a problem. Because I think you and I would be the first people to point out, well, look at that. There's a significant change from that match to this match. And it looks like they figured out a lot of
and
the
that's
stuff
something I want people to pay attention to, is that you're going to be surprised at the skill level increases from teams match to match. I mean, we've only seen a lot of these teams compete once, or
Right.
fly one match. So they're going to take what they learn and glean from this match and apply it, hopefully, into their next one. And we're going to see them exponentially increase. I mean, in years past, people have gotten way, way better.
And
as
I
the
also
years
think
progressed.
too, the chat's not going to let us miss if we don't point something out. I don't think it's fair to the chat that we gloss over stuff that may not be as pretty or as glamorous as some of the other stuff. It's all here to be seen. So at the end of the day, the best way to not have bad stuff get pointed out is not have bad stuff go on. Right at the end of the day.
Or we could just not point bad stuff out and nobody cares, then we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Right. Fair.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Shout outs to all of our sponsors. Fox Mount for really his unequivocally there's no competition at the price point for his mounts that he puts out.
No,
if you guys
not at all.
need desk mounts or anything, Fox Mount, check out his website. I think he's running a little bit behind because he's getting hammered by orders. But they're 80/20 mounts. They're smaller pieces of extrusion, and they mount to your desk. I have mine screwed into a garage shelving unit for my pit, but desk mounting, it's the only way to go. TacView, I think we've said enough about TacView. TacView is a must-have tool. I don't even need to say anymore. Well, I'll say that live TacView is working now, so when you guys revisit us on Tuesday, make sure you join the live TacView. Nightbot will be posting links to the IP and the port for the live TacView connection.
We just mentioned
Desert
Fox
Fox. Yeah, Fox mounts. So go look up DCS Fox mount, and you'll find him. He's on the HOTAS Discord, I think, too. And then Buddy Fox A10 UFC. I think it's the best feeling button box by far because the buttons for the Buddy Fox UFC are done by the Nokia engineers. Billy, do you remember the Nokia brick phone? That you could,
Yes, I do.
Like it wasn't working, and you could throw it into a wall, and it'd magically start working. The case would like blow off of it because.
Oh yeah, I was in college for that. Yeah. I chucked a few of those things. So firsthand experience with that one.
Yeah. They're made by those guys. So the Buddy Fox, and it's made in Finland. And that's the IP for the live TacView. If you guys want to add it, if you have advanced TacView, that is the IP. Nightbot just posted it. So if you guys want to add it for Tuesday's stream, just so you have it from the start, add that. That is the IP and the port, and it is working. So Buddy Fox A10 UFC, and then Billy Wa Merlin's company, Wild Weasel Apparel. We have a shirt to give away.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
We have a shirt to give away. So let me bring up Nightbot.
And we're gonna do any shirt from the HUD collection. So I can post a link to that so people know what they're dealing with there.
Let me grab Nightbot. I am new to Nightbot, so it's giveaways, eligibility, active users. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out what I need to do. Keyword. All right. So how this is going to work is Nightbot is going to post a keyword. It's going to post here in a second. The keyword is going to be wild. The giveaway is not open yet, so wait for the giveaway to open. But you post the keyword in order to enter, and then I'll close the giveaway, and we will do it there. We're going to give it a couple minutes. So I'm going to open it at 12:03 my time, so in 1 minute, and then we will close it at 12:05. So 2 minutes after. We're going to do this really fast, so we're not sitting around all day. So that's 12:03. Never mind. How am I doing this? Oh, the giveaway's open, so you guys can enter already. So the giveaway is open, so you guys can, I think. Nightbot, why are you so confusing? I see some people are here. Maybe type exclamation point wild in chat. Billy, can you do that and see if you
let me try
get entered?
that.
See if
I
that
got
works.
another band because I posted a link again. So we'll
There,
see how
that works. Yeah, type exclamation point wild. I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes, so you guys are figuring it out. So we're going to close the giveaway at 12:06 or 3 minutes from now. So
It's
again,
gonna make me win now. Watch.
well, if you win, I'm going to roll again. So you can go screw yourself, Billy.
I know, right? I got plenty of them. I'm all set.
But again, the giveaway keyword is wild. So exclamation point wild to enter the giveaway. This is a free HUD shirt given away by Wild Weasel Apparel. That's Billy Waugh Merlin. And are you including, hairs from your mustache in this giveaway, or?
Yes, I will clip a few hairs, but they will be sent separately. So be prepared for two
and they will
separate
probably
shirts.
get lost in the mail.
Just a little bit for a while, forever.
Xander says no mustache winners allowed. Does that mean anybody with a mustache or just Billy?
No, we're not going to discriminate against people with mustaches. We're not getting into that territory. That's a bad look for me, and I will not participate in that.
While we're waiting for the giveaway to close, next week's first matchup is going to be number 15 taking on Dragon Squadron. If I remember last time from when number 15 flew, their F-14 was effective. It was like damn effective. So if you guys are looking for an F-14 to watch, that would probably be one of the first matches that I would check out, because judging by how they flew, I think they flew last week was when we watched them. They had 6 kills with one F-14. It was mind-boggling what they were doing. It was kill after kill after kill. I mean, 6 out of 8 kills. It was 2 rounds flown, and they got 6 out of the 8 kills. It was really well flown by them. 1 minute left, or under 1 minute left, ladies and gentlemen, until I hit the roll button. So if you guys haven't entered, again, it is exclamation point wild. And I'm not going to, the giveaway I don't think closes. I just have to hit roll it. So be aware if you haven't entered yet. 1 minute left, or under a minute. Probably like 15 seconds.
Yeah, the live Rio is, it's a night and day difference when you watch a Tomcat with a Rio that knows what he's doing versus a Tomcat with Jester.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh, yeah. I think Pops was their Rio. I think Viper was the pilot.
Yeah.
If I remember right. I could be wrong. If somebody from number 15 is here, please correct me. All right, that's 12:06. So that is it. That is it. And Spectrum, you got in at the last minute, but we're going to roll it. And Dagwood is the winner.
Nice.
So congratulations to Dagwood for coming out with the free Wild Weasel shirt. If you can post in chat just to make sure that you're here. Just post in chat, say yay or how much we suck or something like that, just to make sure that you're here so we can know that we don't need to roll again. Shout outs to Gordo for dropping quite a few more subs. I think they were just ones at a time. Xander for dropping another sub. And Yaga coming out with, I'm going to call it close to 1,000 bits. So thank you very much to everybody for all of your support. During this Saturday, we will be back on Tuesday. There will not be any supercuts for today or next week as we allow Alpha Whiskey some breathing room to try and get ahead. But next week, Tuesday, 1500 Zulu, number 15, taking on Dragon Squadron in what should be a pretty good match. If you guys are wanting to watch F-14s, it is going to be a match to watch. Yaga comes in with another 236 bits. Yaga, I owe you an NVMe link because you need an NVMe drive. I don't owe you a drive. I just need to find you a link for a cheap one because DCS is taking up too much of your space. But if anybody wants an NVMe drive or is looking for one, Samsung 970s are probably some of the best, but they're expensive. Western Digital's Black Editions are pretty good. There's a bunch out there. The Rocket series is pretty good.
Probably a good time for a public service announcement too, guys. Those of you guys who are pushing the limits on your drives and planning on picking up the Syria map, I think if my memory serves me correctly, the PG map is around 40 gigabytes. Yeah. So you're going to need to make sure you're making preparations, because I think we've all been there when you go to download that new hotness and all of a sudden you ain't got the space for it and you start panicking. So now's the time to make those start thinking about that type of stuff. Yeah.
Well, and I have, I think, every module in DCS. And my DCS install is pushing 350 gigs.
Yeah, I have it on its own terabyte. That way, I can go all the way for a little bit. So hopefully, we'll be flying F-35s by the time I need to go get a new hard drive.
Yeah, it's I think I'm good, but I have 3 DCS installs on my. I have open beta, the normal one, and 1.5 because I need them for streaming and flying, and I don't like moving stuff around. But anyway. Back to the sponsor stuff while we got cut out while we did the giveaway. Shout outs to Eagle Dynamics for providing this awesome sim, and I think they've gotten back on their last bug update was massive. I mean, the amount of bugs that they fixed was awesome. So I'm really happy that the direction they're moving. Things have slowed down, so we're not panicking every time they release something, and having to redo the missions for SATAL. Desert Fox 1.5 because I actually just used it as an install, and then I changed the version to open beta. But since it's actually a different DCS executable, it's a separate install, so I can, I can do things with it and run it as a different version. But shout outs to them for providing the sim that we all love. Heapler for Tomcats that we saw today. And I'm anxious to see if there's any surprises. This is just my gut feeling. There may be something coming from them this year. And guys, I really don't know. This is just maybe Christmas. I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see something. I'd like a new plane. A6 Intruder, AI or player aircraft will be awesome. Big shout outs to Blackhawk. I'm still waiting on that button box, but international shipping with COVID and stuff's just taking forever. So hopefully when we get it, I'm really excited about it. That should be awesome. If you guys are looking for a new button box, Blackhawk's probably the way to go because it has virtually everything. If you're not flying the A10 UFC, Blackhawk's awesome. And then of course the Matriarch sponsor Thrustmaster, who makes some phenomenal gear. They just announced their Airbus line. I don't think it's out yet, but the Airbus line, I'm actually looking to utilize some of that stuff in DCS.
It looks like quality stuff. The throttle and the flaps and I believe there was like a 4-piece component there with the throttle and I think it was flaps and maybe landing gear. I'm not positive, but yeah, that looks like a really cool setup. 2020. I mean, I'm super stoked on that. I think that's going to be a big game changer for a lot of stuff. So.
Yep. And it's supposed to be modeled off of or have the same type of components as the T16000M. And it's in that Airbus blue, so I think it's pretty similar. Throttle's obviously different. But Blackhawks, it's not Blackhawks, it's Black Hog. The panel should be down below, so look at the link panel down below the Twitch stream, and check that out. And see if there should be a direct link to their website down below. So shout outs again to Yaga for dropping another 200, I'm going to call it 200 bits. It's pretty close.
Yeah,
Yaga got timed out.
Definitely had a lot of support today, guys. That was really cool. Thanks for everything you guys were throwing at the stream. Much appreciated.
Nightbot's pissed. I gotta change his stuff. He's just anal about those people posting things.
He got mad at me
posted a link.
Yeah, I posted 2 links. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's all I got. We went through a lot. We gave away a shirt. We're back Tuesday, 1500 Zulu. Matches should be on YouTube available roughly a week after they air on here. Sometimes I'm better at it posting on YouTube than other times, but roughly a week. So we'll be back Tuesday, 1500 Zulu for the next stream. Billy, you got anything before we
Dagwood, check DMs. I sent you a message with the email to send your info and what shirt you want to. If not, it's wildweasel@gmail.com. You can send your pertinent stuff there and we'll get you taken care of. I think that's pretty much it for me. I'm already looking forward to Tuesday. So let's get it done. Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right, guys. I'll catch you later. Again, Tuesday, 1500 Zulu. Number 15 taking on Dragon Squadron. Until next time, fly safe in those virtual skies, and I'll see you guys later.
See you.